Let's talk now about Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky saying that he is finalising a 20-point peace document and will be presenting it to the United States soon. Trump says strong words were exchanged during calls with European leaders. Funny, Number 10 didn't tell us about that when they sent us an email readout of the discussions between Donald Trump and Keir Starmer recently. They must have just missed that off the list for some reason. Mary Dejevsky is a foreign affairs analyst, columnist at The Independent, and my favourite commentator on these things. Mary, where are we with this peace deal?
Well, we seem to be somewhere different practically every day.
Yeah.
Where we seem to be now is that Ukraine and the Europeans and the Americans seem actually to be talking about the same document. Now, if that's true, then that's quite a lot of progress, because until now we've been looking at one document which was said to be a list of points, sort of not exactly agreed, but discussed between the Americans and the Russians. And then we had either the same document heavily edited or a different document discussed between Ukraine and the Europeans. Now, since the phone conversation, it appears yesterday, between the European leaders and Donald Trump, everybody seems to be talking about the same document. Now, if that's true, that is quite a lot of progress.
Mm-hmm. How much pressure do you think the Americans are putting on Zelensky here? Because Steve Witkoff, for example, the US envoy, and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who now seems to be more involved with these things. He was very involved in the first administration of Trump and seems to have taken a bit of a backseat, but now involved again in foreign affairs. They're said to have told Zelensky the president wants to see a peace deal agreed within weeks.
Yes, I think there's quite a lot of pressure being put on Zelensky, and I think you can see that in two ways. But the first suggests that Zelensky isn't entirely averse to some of the things that are going on, because yesterday, I think it was in his nationwide address that he does every evening, but I think it was last night, where he was actually talking about the possibility of having a ceasefire or an end to some sort of end to the conflict. He was talking about days. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I'd heard anything either so specific or so really optimistic in that sense from Zelensky.
But the big issue is, of course, land, isn't it? It's the Donbass region. It's the fact that Zelensky says, look, constitutionally, he's not in a position where he could give up land, even if he wanted to, plus he doesn't want to anyway.
Yes, that's all entirely true. And we've had some sort of what appear to be insights into some of the bargaining going on about this, in mostly, I think, in the American press, where they've been looking at sort of precedents, including the North-South Korea precedent. Now, none of that will be at all welcomed by Zelensky. But there's another aspect of this which has suddenly come onto the horizon in the last couple of days, which is that it's not clear whether this is because of American pressure or what it is, but Zelensky is talking about the possibility of holding elections. Mm-hmm. And if he were to hold elections...
And they haven't happened, I think, since 2019, and he's been criticised quite a lot for that. I mean, obviously it's difficult to hold elections when your country's at war, but nonetheless, conditions have improved to some degree anyway in the last nearly 7 years.
There's a parallel for me with the land question here, because Zelensky has always said, to do with elections, that he couldn't hold elections on time because of martial law, and martial law excluded holding elections. And now you may be talking about either martial law possibly being lifted temporarily if there was some sort of ceasefire in place. But he is talking about holding elections. And if you can, as it were, alter or manipulate the constitutional situation to hold elections, then maybe you can do something similar with the land question. Say if Zelensky had a new mandate or somebody else had a new mandate.
Do you think in your heart, sorry to interrupt you, Mary, do you think in your heart of hearts there can be any peace deal without land going in a Russian direction?
No. I don't think that's entirely possible. I think it's what form it takes, and what are the sort of judicial what's the judicial framework for that. And I think that the very least that will be possible is that land is ceded to Russia, but it's not given legal recognition. And there are all sorts of precedents for that. Just a return to the election question is also interesting, because one of the reasons that Vladimir Putin has said that he won't, as it were, talk to Zelensky, is that he claims Zelensky currently is without a mandate because he didn't hold those elections. Now, what if Zelensky does hold a mandate, and either he or somebody in his place is elected, who will have a mandate? Now, presumably then Putin says, okay, we've got somebody who's empowered to negotiate with us. So all these things are in play, and they're very interesting things being in play.
Certainly is, and great to have your analysis of it, Mary. Thank you. Mary Dejevsky there, Foreign Affairs journalist, columnist for The Independent. Appreciate you taking the time to chat to us today.